This is Caribbean News Desk. I'm Dennis Chabrol. In this edition, the Cayman Islands revamps its voting system. Tobago hopes a weekly flight to Brazil will bring in some tourist dollars. Trinidad and Tobago is keeping an eye on cheap steel being dumped by China on the world market. A hike in hospital fees in the British Virgin Islands is not going down well with some residents. And the debate on whether to scrap or regularize an illegal route between Guyana and Suriname. Details coming up.
We are one Caribbean, one people, one nation. Same destiny, so separated we are. As one, let's come together. One market economy. Caribbean is how it should be. Let's support.
The way is being paved for the adoption of one man, one vote as the governor appoints Electoral Boundaries Commission in 2015 for the Cayman Islands. Currently, electors in the Cayman Islands have as many votes as there are representatives in their districts. This gives Caymanians living in the large districts more votes than those living in the less populated areas. Following a referendum on the issue, the current government promised to implement single-member constituency voting before the next election. Radio Cayman's Paul Akal has more on the new Electoral Boundaries Commission.
The new commission will make recommendations for the division of the Cayman Islands into single-member electoral districts. The governor has appointed Lisa Hadley from the United States as the chairman, along with local lawyers Adriani Webb and Steve McField. The appointments follow consultation with the Premier and the Leader of the Opposition. Mr. McField, the opposition nominee, is looking forward to the challenge.
I feel very good about it. I feel very honored to be on the commission and that he recommended me and the governor accepted his recommendation. I feel honored about that. I think it's great. It's a great thing for me to have a chance to show what I can do.
The commission's report is expected to be handled over within 4 months, and it will include recommendations for the boundaries of 18 electoral districts, as well as the method and how each constituency will send a single member to the Legislative Assembly. While no meetings have been scheduled yet, Mr. McField says he's ready to get the job done.
All of my personal views will be left behind, and then I will have to abide by the terms and references of the Electoral Boundary Commission, the terms and references that it receives, and that's what I will abide by.
In preparing the report, the Commission will get public input and consider the natural boundaries and existing electoral districts in the Cayman Islands. Government has said that any changes will be implemented before the May 2017 general elections. For Radio Cayman News, I am Paul Akal.
The Tobago House of Assembly announced Friday the launch of a weekly direct flight between the island and the Brazilian metropolis of São Paulo, scheduled to start next January 31. The Assembly's Division of Tourism and Transportation said in a statement that Brazilian airline Gol will provide the service. The Assembly said that the decision by the airline to fly to Tobago follows 2 years of negotiations between the division and the airline's management. The 7-hour flight time includes a stop in Barbados, and the introductory round trip is $599. Secretary of Tourism and Transportation Tracy Davidson Celestine says that this is a significant move because it opens up the South American market and Brazil in particular. With strong connections in Argentina, Chile, and other South American markets, it makes it easier for the growing South American middle class to access Tobago. Gol is Brazil's second largest airline. The company, which flies under both the Gol and Varig brands, operates almost 970 daily flights in South America, the Caribbean, and the United States. Trinidad and Tobago is feeling the effects of the competition of Chinese manufacturers who are exporting their goods to the Caribbean. At the same time, the steel industry, that twin island country, is relying on its high-quality products to weather what has been termed unfair competition by steel companies that are largely subsidized by the government of China. Our Trinidad correspondent Andre Perez tells us more in this report.
The Latin American Steel Association, known as ALCIRO, says steel imports from China increased 65% in 2013 to 2014, posing a threat to the industry in the region. ALCIRO President Rafael Rubio said their main concern is that these imports arrive under conditions of unfair competition that can be observed in the average price of Chinese products coming to Latin America, which is 14% lower than prices for the rest of the world. Speaking on the issue, President of the Steel Workers Union of Trinidad and Tobago, Christopher Henry, says on the matter of cheap Chinese steel flooding the markets, he notes Trinidad and Tobago has managed to stay strong due to the high-quality goods it produces.
Because we have subsidized gas, we have even subsidized water, we have our labor cost is one of the lowest in the entire steel industry. So to meet our challenges, both we have to work together with the company in order to identify our challenges, where it is, and work on them.
He says, however, we can be stronger competitors due to several factors working in our favor. Mr. Henry says TNT's ArcelorMittal needs some urgent upgrades to their plants if they want to stay competitive. I am Andrea Perez reporting from Port of Spain, Trinidad for Caribbean News Desk.
Residents and visitors to the British Virgin Islands are alarmed at the new fees being charged at the government-owned hospital. More from Angela Burns in Road Town, Tortola.
British Virgin Islands Health Minister Ronnie W. Skelton has moved to allay concerns about a recently implemented increase in fees for medical services in the territory. The new fee structure announced during a press conference on Thursday will see non-residents and visitors paying more for services. For example, residents will pay $110 for accommodation in general wards, while non-residents and visitors will have to pay $555. Surgical procedures for residents will cost $900, while for non-residents and visitors, the cost will be $4,680. The casualty department fee is $125 versus $150, and outpatient services range from $50 to $95 versus $100 to $175 for residents and non-residents respectively. Minister Skelton said the fees for medical services in the territory have remained below cost primarily because of government subsidies, but the cost of producing those services has increased significantly over the years. He said the fees under the previous regulations have become unsustainable and a risk to national economic security. While there has been some support, others complain that the increase in fees is unjustified since it does not take more to care for a resident than a non-resident, that the government is not being lenient on the small man or the unemployed, and that the increase will negatively affect private insurance premiums. Health Minister Skelton said he understands the public's concerns, but he assured them that no one will be denied access to health care because of their inability to pay. Chairman of the BVI Health Services Authority Board, John Klein, said that the new hospital regulations 2014 has been in the pipeline for over 5 years, and he is pleased with the amendments as the changes will allow the BVI HSA to deliver optimum services. Fees have remained the same for the past 40 years in the Virgin Islands, but with the new state-of-the-art multi-story, multi-million-dollar hospital just commissioned this month, operational costs are expected to spiral from $30 to $45 million a year. In its 2014 to 2015 budget, government allocated $24 million for the Health Services Authority. The new fees are expected to bring in $16 million, and so there is still a $5 million shortfall. For Caribbean News Desk, I am Angela Burns in Road Town, Tortola.
The formalizing of a river crossing and unauthorized ports of entry in Guyana and Suriname will have to be done simultaneously. That's the word from Guyana's Foreign Minister Carolyn Rodriguez-Burkett at the opening of a 2-day Surinamese trade mission by a 40-member delegation of government and private sector representatives.
In order for us to fix the backtrack, it has to be done simultaneously on both sides. Because if one side fixes it and the other side doesn't, it wouldn't work. And so we've been working with our Surinamese counterparts to see when we can do this at the appropriate time, because we also have to remember everyone using there must have all their documentation as well. So it's a gradual process, but I can assure you that we're working on this.
The route across the Carantine River from Skeldon and Guyana to Nakiri in Suriname, commonly called backtrack, is frequently used by small traders and residents on both sides because the journey is much quicker than by ferry. However, General Manager of the Suriname Business Development Center, Gilbert Van Dyke, told the business session of the trade mission that a backtrack route should be shut down altogether.
As a formal chair of the Kanawaima Ferry Service, backtrack is illegal, over and out. Backtrack should not be there at all. And if I say that, I mean it, because I'm saying this for 10 years already. The smuggling and the backtrack and everything that concerns is damaging legal business.
Law enforcement authorities from both countries have long regarded the backtrack route as a major smuggling route for guns, drugs, goods, people, and illegal migration. Ironically, on the Guyana side, while police sometimes penalize people for violating immigration laws by using the route, customs officials are there to levy taxes and duties on goods being brought across. Pilot error caused the August 13 plane crash that killed Brazilian presidential candidate Eduardo Campos and 6 other people. Brazilian Air Force documents point to the pilot's lack of training to fly a Cessna 560 XL aircraft and a sequence of errors leading up to the accident. The airplane was carrying former Pernambuco Governor Campos, 4 of his aides, and 2 crew members. Campos, the candidate for the centrist PSB, was flying from Rio de Janeiro to Guarujá on the coast of São Paulo state when weather conditions forced the pilot to change course towards the nearby port city of Santos. The pilot, Marcus Martins, deviated from the recommended procedure when he made a course change maneuver, resulting in a spatial disorientation that caused him to crash the plane into a residential area. The Air Force's Center for Prevention and Investigation of Air Accidents compiled psychological and professional profiles of the pilot and co-pilot and determined that the Cessna did not have any mechanical problems, according to the documents cited by a local newspaper. Martins, who never trained in a flight simulator for the kind of aircraft he was flying, posted messages on social media days before the accident saying that he was feeling tired. After Campos died, the PSB elevated vice presidential candidate Marina Silva to the top spot on the ticket. Silva, former environment minister, finished 3rd in the October 5 elections. The top 2 vote-getters, incumbent President Dilma Rousseff and Senator Aécio Neves, went on to face each other in a runoff on October 26 that resulted in a second term for Brazil's first woman chief executive.
We are 15 states with a common goal, a unified purpose to face the world, enriching lives, empowering people, creating a strong economic region. No matter where you're from, no hassle, just freedom. When the business school of pleasure, we will benefit together. The CARICOM single market, good for you and me. The CARICOM single market, good for you and me. The CARICOM single market, good for you and me. Oh yeah!
And that's it for this edition of Caribbean News Desk. Thanks for joining us. I'm Dennis Chabrol.